I'm a big fan of your voice. I'm offering you 3 times whatever you make in Chicago to sing here exclusively for me.
I'm so sorry, man. Let me get that.
It's all right.
I'm so sorry.
It's not your fault.
How long have you been working for me, Akim?
Almost 2 months, sir.
Customer deserve excellent service.
I'm so sorry, sir. I'm sorry, ma'am.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
The movie begins with a band performing at a cafe on an island called Island. The cafe owner, Alvarez, is deeply impressed by the singer, Nora. He invites her to sit with him and praises her beauty and voice. Captivated by her performance, Alvarez offers her a 1-year contract with triple pay to sing at the cafe every Saturday night. Nora is thrilled and accepts the offer. Afterwards, Alvarez asks the bartender to bring her some wine. Unfortunately, the bartender accidentally spilled wine on Nora's dress. She wasn't angry and said she could simply change, but Alvarez became furious. He was waiting for an important guest and didn't want anyone to see a singer in his cafe with a stained dress. In a fit of brutal rage, he killed the bartender right in front of Nora. Terrified, she realized that Alvarez was extremely dangerous. It turned out he was the leader of a powerful mafia organization in the United States and had been living on the island for 4 years to expand his illegal operations. The scene then shifts to Los Angeles, where we meet Sheriff Mark and Deputy Phil. At first, they seem like honest law enforcers, but in reality they are corrupt and planning an illegal deal at the airport. As their plan unfolds, a real drug dealer and his gang suddenly show up. Mark meets the dealer to seize the illegal goods while Phil prepares to hand over the money. Unexpectedly, Phil turns on the gang and a violent fight breaks out. In the middle of the chaos, Mark's phone rings. It's his mother calling to tell him that his brother has been found dead. After hearing the tragic news, Mark hurried back to his hometown, which was actually located on an island. He attended his brother's funeral and was shocked to learn that his brother was the bartender killed by Alvarez. Rumors spread that Mark's brother might have been murdered by gang members on his way home from work. Surprisingly, Alvarez and his 2 henchmen also attended the funeral to offer their condolences to Mark. After the funeral, Mark and his mother returned home. While looking through old photographs, he realized it had been 11 years since he last set foot on the island, ever since he left to serve as sheriff. Determined to avenge his brother's death, Mark went to the island's police station the next day. There, he met B, the local police chief and his childhood friend. B offered his condolences and promised to begin investigating the case. Mark asked if there were any leads on the killer. B explained that the suspects were likely gang members, but it would take time to identify which group was responsible since many gangs operated on the island. While at the police station, Mark unexpectedly ran into Aquila, a martial arts instructor and his former girlfriend. She was happy to see him again after 11 years and offered her condolences for his brother's death. Mark asked Aquila about his brother's habits and whether he had any connection to local gangs. She wasn't sure since many new gangs had emerged after Mark left the island. However, she told him that his brother once worked for an American man named Alvarez. Aquila revealed that Alvarez wasn't who he seemed to be, he was actually a mafia boss. His cafe was just a front, while his real business involved smuggling illegal goods and weapons. Hearing this, Mark grew suspicious of Alvarez and decided to confront him. Before leaving, Mark asked Aquila to take his mother home and look after her, worried for her safety. He then went to Alvarez's cafe but was initially stopped by Alvarez's right-hand man. Eventually, Alvarez allowed him to enter. Mark immediately asked if he knew who was behind his brother's death. Alvarez made up a story claiming that the Outsiders gang had killed Mark's brother after a late-night shift. Mark didn't believe him and warned that he wouldn't forgive Alvarez if he was involved. Alvarez just smirked, seeing Mark as nothing more than an ordinary cop. Alvarez then told Mark about a cafe where local thugs often gathered and suggested he question them as they might know something about his brother's death. After Mark left, Alvarez secretly ordered his right-hand man to gather members of the Northern Gang to take Mark out for a ride that night. Meanwhile, Mark visited his best friend, who now ran a hot dog stand, and asked about the weapons he had left behind. His friend said he had buried them in an abandoned building near the beach. As their conversation unfolded, it became clear that Mark and his friend used to be like the island's leaders during their teenage years. After Mark left Los Angeles, the island became a target for foreign gangs and the Mafia. His best friend knew Mark would seek revenge for his brother's death and promised to help whenever needed. Later, Mark went to the abandoned building near the beach and dug up the weapons his friend had buried. That night, he went to the cafe Alvarez had mentioned. He turned off the music and confronted the thugs about his brother's murder. They denied everything and attacked him, sparking a fierce brawl.
Not a cop, you're in the wrong fucking place.
Who's lost his brother?
The fucker, you do see I got a loaded gun.
Is
Mark skillfully overpowered the thugs and once again demanded to know who was behind his brother's death. The gang leader insisted that they had never harmed any locals. Suddenly, a group of northern thugs sent by Alvarez stormed in and opened fire on Mark. He narrowly escaped, triggering a fierce chase. During the pursuit, Mark managed to capture one of the attackers, then found a hiding spot and stayed out of sight until the gang lost track of him. Soon after, the gang leader called Alvarez to report that they had lost track of Mark. Furious, Alvarez ordered them to kill Mark's mother. The gang broke into the house and fired at what they thought was her sleeping body, but it turned out to be just a pillow. Aquila had anticipated the danger and moved Mark's mother to a safe place. Later, Mark and Chief B examined the scene. Mark couldn't stop thinking that if he hadn't trusted Aquila, his mother might have been killed. Aquila informed Mark that a new lead had surfaced in his brother's murder case. A witness, a singer named Nora, had seen everything. Chief B said Nora was staying at a motel near the church, in room 18, and suggested that Mark speak to her directly. The next day, Mark went to the motel. At first, Nora hesitated to open the door, afraid he might be one of Alvarez's men. Mark quickly showed his police badge to assure her that he wasn't a threat. Eventually, Nora opened up and spoke with Mark. He promised to help her leave the island safely if she revealed who killed the bartender, his brother. Nervously, Nora admitted that Alvarez had murdered him simply because he spilled wine on her dress. She explained that Alvarez had kept her trapped on the island, fearing she might go to the police. After learning the truth, Mark immediately escorted Nora out of the room and met with Chief B. He then asked B to accompany her to the dock and make sure she left the island safely. Nora was safely escorted to the dock while Mark began planning his revenge against Alvarez for his brother's death. Meanwhile, Alvarez ordered his loyal mercenaries to track down Mark. A few hours later, they arrived on the island and headed straight to his house. At that moment, Mark's mother and Aquila were there. Mark planned to leave his mother in Aquila's care while he went to confront Alvarez. Suddenly, a car approached. It was the mercenaries. Mark quickly grabbed his weapon and led his mother and Aquila to the back of the house. Two mercenaries stayed by the vehicle while the other two went inside. When they noticed Mark had gone to the back, they chased after him. The pursuit soon turned into a fierce gunfight. Meanwhile, the two mercenaries guarding the car got caught in a gunfight, but were eventually driven away by B. Mark managed to take down one of his pursuers, while the other escaped. Later, he contacted Mark, who said that his mother and Aquila were safe at his best friend's hot dog stand. The next scene shows Alvarez and his right-hand man searching for Nora in a hotel. Alvarez was furious when he discovered that Nora had disappeared and killed the hotel guard for failing to protect her. Meanwhile, Mark arrived at his friend's house, leaving his mother and Aquila there before setting out to take revenge on Alvarez. The hot dog vendor welcomed them warmly. As Mark prepared to leave, Aquila insisted on going with him. Despite his efforts to stop her, she refused to back down, and in the end, they decided to face the danger together. That night, Mark and Aquila waited for Sheriff B as part of their plan. B arrived in his car but didn't get out, so Mark and Aquila went to check on him. They were shocked to find him badly wounded. Suddenly, gunshots rang out. It was an ambush by the remaining 3 mercenaries sent by Alvarez. In the chaos, the mercenaries captured Aquila, while Mark tried to save the dying B. With his final breath, B urged Mark to keep fighting for justice and free the island from Alvarez's cruelty. The next day, at a church, the locals gathered for a ceremony. Mark arrived and passionately urged the community to unite against the oppression brought by outsiders. He called on them to rise up and confront Alvarez, the criminal mastermind behind the island's illegal operations. Mark reminded them that not only his brother but also Sheriff B and Aquila had suffered because of Alvarez. Moved by his words, the townspeople came together with determination, ready to rise up and fight back against Alvarez. Later, Mark went to the police station, where he temporarily took over as sheriff. He gathered the officers and made capturing Alvarez his top priority. While searching for more information about Alvarez, Phil, Mark's partner from Los Angeles, showed up to find out why he had been gone for so long. Mark explained that he wouldn't return until Alvarez, the man who killed his brother and was holding Aquila hostage, was brought to justice. Phil agreed to help Mark and treated the situation as his own. That afternoon, Alvarez contacted Mark after realizing he was the one who helped Nora escape. Alvarez proposed a meeting at 7 a.m. the next morning to exchange Aquila. He promised to leave Mark alone if he agreed to forget everything. Although Mark reluctantly accepted the terms, he knew he couldn't forgive Alvarez without taking revenge. Since Nora had already left the island, he also knew she couldn't take part in the exchange. The next morning, Mark contacted Phil and asked him to lead a local police team to rescue Aquila from Alvarez. Phil agreed without hesitation. While Mark waited at the meeting spot with Alvarez at 7 a.m., Phil and his team moved toward Alvarez's hideout. There, they encountered one of Alvarez's mercenaries, but Phil quickly neutralized the threat. Meanwhile, Mark confronted Alvarez and one of his most trusted henchmen.
Hands up.
Alvarez immediately demanded to know where Nora was. Mark stayed calm and lied, saying she would arrive once Aquila showed up, stalling for time while waiting for news from Phil. At the same time, Phil found Aquila, but was held at gunpoint by one of the mercenaries, forcing him to surrender. Fortunately, his team soon eliminated the attackers and secured Aquila safely.
All right, hey, taking the gun out.
Guns.
Okay. Mafia.
Phil informed Mark that Aquila was safe. Mark then told Alvarez that Nora was now in Los Angeles and wouldn't be coming back. When Alvarez threatened to harm Aquila, Mark calmly revealed that all of Alvarez's men had already been taken down. Enraged, Alvarez ordered his right-hand man to shoot Mark. Just as the situation reached its peak, the hot dog vendor and the islanders arrived, surrounding Alvarez and his crew with weapons. Mark asked everyone to lower their weapons and challenged Alvarez to a one-on-one fight to settle everything. Mark made Alvarez suffer the same fate as his brother once did. In the next scene, Mark and Aquila shared a tender moment on the beach, confirming their love and plans to get married. Later, Phil invited Mark to return to Los Angeles, but he refused, choosing instead to stay and protect the island from outsiders. The movie ends with a witty message: never spill wine on someone's dress, especially if they're secretly a mafia boss, or things might spiral out of control.